Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Growing Kentucky's Leaders. Today is a special gala edition. I'm Sheldon McKinney, one of your hosts,
And I'm your other host, Ruth Ann Fink.
and we're in Gala Countdown. The ninth annual Blue and Gold Gala is going to be Saturday, September 6th at Churchill Downs. And we thought today we would just use our time on the podcast to tell you about what to expect on this incredible night.
Yeah. Sheldon, you've been around since the origin of our gala events that we have here in Kentucky. So I think it's appropriate. Let's just start with you give us the background of how this event came to be. When did it begin? How has it grown?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, our very first gala was of September 2017. It was on a Friday night, the first and only time we've ever done on a Friday night at Keeneland. But the idea of a gala, I have to tell you, was inspired by some mentors in other states. Georgia FFA had this gala that they talked about. It was a huge fundraising success for them every year. They had over 500 people who attended, and our mentoring group always says, hey, if you want to come and learn from us, come. And in 2016, I was expecting my second son, Cotton, but I went to Georgia and I went to their gala. And I left just feeling inspired about how we could do this in Kentucky. So, a gala is a fancy event, but it's really about friend raising, fundraising, bringing people together to celebrate something great like Kentucky FFA. And we have just kept going. It's grown tremendously. I think our first year we had about 200 guests. Each year, well, now we're over 350 and pushing that a little bit more every year. We raised the first year our net raise, which means after you take away all of our expenses of food and venue and all that after we raise, was about $90,000. And that was a great
Yeah,
success.
that's a great start.
Yeah. Last year, I think our net was over 250,
Yeah.
right?
hmm
So it's incredible how it has grown. And we hope people keep coming back year after year to participate because it's a powerful night.
hmm You shared the net and how much we've over the years, how that has grown. Why don't you share a big milestone that's happening this right now as we speak?
Yeah, so this year, currently, after we have taken in table sponsorships, ticket sales, and that sort of thing, we have passed the $1 million net raise fundraising mark for the Blue and Gold Gala. So that's incredible because also money from the gala is what we call in philanthropy, it's an unrestricted dollar. And Ruthann, why don't you talk about
Yeah.
what's the power of unrestricted dollars in fundraising? What's that allowed us to do?
Yeah, in our world, we talk a lot about these buckets of money that come in and how we steward them to fulfill our mission with Kentucky FFA, and unrestricted dollars is a pretty powerful bucket because that just means we can meet the need where it's at. It takes all kinds of kinds. We can use any kind of dollar to impact students here in Kentucky and in other FFA chapters locally. But that unrestricted bucket really allows us to be flexible and meet the need of our students where they're at in that year. So, just some examples from the gala in years past, how we've used those unrestricted dollars are things like the Ag Innovation Grant. So, those are grants that chapters can apply for. They are large sums of money, $10,000 for an FFA chapter. That is transformational. We both used to be ag teachers. I'm sure we both could imagine what $10,000 would have done for our programs. And that's exactly what those grants are intended to do. It's intended to transform the learning experience for students. So, we fund about two of those out of the gala funds each year. That's huge. That's $20,000 right there. Historically, we've used a lot of our unrestricted funds from this event to fund Washington Leadership Conference scholarships. That is an ever-growing need in our state. And so we've been able to send, oh my goodness, dozens and dozens and dozens of students to Washington, D.C. because of this event. Camp scholarships, another ever-growing need. What a gift to just tell students you can go to a week-long camp at no cost. That's pretty unheard of if you're a parent sending your kids to a summer camp. We've got to do that. Jacket grants. I mean, you name it, whatever the need is, where we see growth from year to year of what our needs are from different local programs. We get to do that because of the gala and those unrestricted dollars. And another really big thing that we don't talk about a lot that re it's a necessity, and it is dollars that allow our staff to grow, and our capacity to grow. We can do more, we can meet more need if we have more staff who are able to run programs. You've seen our foundation grow here recently, and that's because of things like unrestricted dollars. We can only do as much as we have time for. So the more that we build our capacity, the more we can do for FFA members. Storytelling is a big piece too, being able to really invest in great creative work to tell the story of Kentucky FFA. Hopefully, you've seen that as well. This podcast is an example of that. We're just able to do more for students, and grow Kentucky FFA as a whole. So, unrestricted dollars are really, really important.
And just looking back in 2017, our foundation had two full-time staff. That was it.
Hmm.
And I mean, we didn't raise $1 million for the first time till 2018 or 19. So we were not even at the $1 million mark in any capacity. Now, 9 years later, this year we're going to break a lot of fundraising records. We have a full-time staff of 4, part-time staff of 2. We have 2 contractors that work with us. And all of that has grown because we have more ag teachers than ever before, more programs than ever before, more FFA members than ever before. So it's allowed us to meet the moment and
Hmm.
be able to grow. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
incredible.
I'm so fortunate to be able to do that. Now, Sheldon, you mentioned earlier, I love this term. Honestly, I think it's the first I've ever heard this term, friend raising. And that
Mhm.
this event is a great way to do friend raising. Talk to us about just the power of friend raising in regards to this event.
So, friend raising would be bringing people back to connecting with your organization. And for us, that's Kentucky FFA. We have so many people who have had a great Kentucky FFA experience. I mean, really, if you did the numbers on what that would be, hundreds of thousands of people have had a Kentucky FFA experience at the local level, and maybe they said being a part of FFA helped my career, it gave me so many opportunities. But um, our data work was really bad. We did not maintain records of all of those students. So you may be sitting in your business as the leader of a great, thriving organization and thinking, why does FFA not call me? Why don't they know me? Well, it's because
Hmm.
we don't have your contact information. So it's a way we need.
You were a minor when you were in FFA. That,
15 to 30 years ago, we don't know that that was your story. So
yeah.
you have to tell us. And the
Hmm.
gala has been a great way for people to raise their hand and say, I want to get connected back. This is a great avenue for me to plug in, to meet people, to support FFA. And then we have, people who buy tables, maybe a corporate
Yeah.
sponsored table, or just a person who says, I'm going to be a sponsor and I'm going to invite 8 of my friends to this table.
Mhm.
And the people that they have invited back to say, hey, will you attend with me on this night? It has turned into some of our most valuable relationships for Kentucky FFA because once people come back to the FFA table and they reflect on what it's done and they have the opportunity to make a difference, they do. I have 2 people in mind to tell you about. One is Terry Ashby. Terry is a board member with us at the Kentucky FFA Foundation. He came as a guest of Bayer Crop Sciences one year when we were at UK on Kroger Field. He was introduced to me that night and said, I have this idea. I want to do an endowment of some type for my ag teachers from Hopkinsville FFA. We worked together to spearhead that local endowment. Now has about $100,000 in it. But Terry was retiring from Purdue Foods back in Lexington, and he has become a wonderful board member and advocate, and his leadership's incredible. And he connected back to us because he got invited to the gala. The second person, this was our fate was written in the stars, but it's Mr. Nick Carter, who was a past board chairman, an incredible donor to us as well. Nick was invited to the gala by Kyle Kelly, who works for Kentucky Farm Bureau, the very first year in 2017. And he invited him just because they were on going to a golf tournament together and said, hey, I have to do this thing later. Will you bring a jacket and come with me? He didn't even know that Nick was a past Kentucky FFA state officer from the 1960s. Nick had not been connected to FFA at all, but a recent retiree who came back to us. And man, what a wonderful relationship and impact Nick has made. And we found him through the gala. So that's what friend raising is. It's how do you connect people back to who can help make a difference in our mission? And it's done that. Yeah. So this year, we're excited to welcome a lot of people back to the ninth Blue and Gold Gala. Ruth Ann, this is your primary function of your role is to help coordinate the gala. You have been working so hard for so long. We think about it all year long. So tell us what we can expect.
Oh, guys, I'm so excited about this year's event. This will be my third year on staff planning this event, and it has just grown even in the 3 years, and that's all thanks to the people who show up to the event. So if you're listening and you're coming, thanks for showing up. It makes my work worth it. But yeah, this year is special. I keep telling people it's going to be the best one yet, and I believe that. And it's mostly because we're at a super cool location. So this year's event you mentioned earlier, we're going to be on Millionaires Row at Churchill Downs, the most iconic location I think you could ever be at in Kentucky. Depending on who you ask, some may say Commonwealth Stadium, but it's pretty iconic. This is an iconic Kentucky location for sure. Um, Here's just what I want people to expect. It's going to be so fun. We always will have our silent auction. We've had so many people, even FFA members. I think it's the sweetest thing ever. I've been getting emails the past months of FFA members and their own projects that they have saying, I want to donate this to the auction. Like that culture of philanthropy is there. That's fun. Our board members always show out with great silent auction items. And then just people from our community too. So a great silent auction. You can look forward to that. You can also look forward to a great live auction. We have 8 really unique items this year. We'll go into more depth about that soon, so I won't give you too much of a preview just yet, but 8 great live auction items if you're going to be there in person with us. If you're interested in one of these live auction items and you're not going to be in person, you can call. We have a great auction company that donates their time, and they know what they're doing with an auction. You can always call and have them bid for you. We do 2 fun things at the auction outside of or at the gala outside of an auction, and that is our rock, paper, scissors game. Has that been going on since the beginning of time?
Since the very beginning.
Since the
Yeah.
beginning. So the 9th annual rock, paper, scissors, where our guests can pay $25. They get this blue flashing light to wear on their lapel or on their dress. And they play rock, paper, scissors against a celebrity guest on stage, and the ultimate winner will win a prize. This year's prize is an experience for 8 people at Churchill Downs. They get to go up to the announcer's booth, watch a race be called, go home with a custom painting of Churchill Downs. It's really fun to watch. And this is a new thing. We have a human slot machine this year. So you can, if you're there in person, this is something you have to be in person for, but you can buy 5 pulls of a slot machine for $50. We're going to have our state officers in this booth. So 3 state officer faces in a booth. They're going to be holding up different paraphernalia objects. And if you get a match, you win a prize. So we're looking forward to that too. Just a fun way to engage folks while you're there. And then, of course, our really powerful Fund the Need that happens at the end of the live auction. It always makes me tear up every year. I just wear my waterproof mascara and get ready for it, where we'll hear from real stories of how these dollars make a difference. And folks can just decide they want to fund that need right then and right there. And so that's like from a 30,000-foot view, what to expect at this year's event. You can participate in person. You can also participate from afar if you're not able to join us in person. But we're pretty excited about it.
So we wanted to shout out some of our live auction items and the people who donated them to make this happen
Yes.
for us as well. So Ruth Ann, tell us about Ashbourne Farms Dynamite Sporting Clay Course and
Yeah.
Private Lunch. What do you get to
Yeah,
do?
so Ashburn Farms, they're in LaGrange, so right outside of Louisville. They have their Dynamite Farm is what it's named, and they have just built a luxury sporting clay course. And so they have donated this private guided course. This is for 12 guests, so pretty unique experience. And then not only do you get everything you could need for that, sporting clay course, ammunition, the guns, eye and ear protection, private guides, all of that is included, of course. And then to top it off, when you finish, you get a private lunch from their private chef. His name was Chef Ryan, in their state-of-the-art show barn. So it is going to be a fabulous day with you and your 11 closest friends. It's a beautiful farm there in LaGrange, and we're just grateful that they've donated that item. And I'm
Yeah.
excited for people get to experience their grounds. It is beautiful out there.
Truly a really incredible experience. Our next item is another experience. It's music
Mhm.
festival passes donated by Kentucky Venues. Kentucky Venues is home to the State Fair, the North American, the Farm Machinery Show, all those things the FFA members may be familiar with, but also two of Kentucky's biggest music festivals. And so this
Mhm.
would be two VIP passes to your choice in the year 2026 of either the Bourbon and Beyond Music Festival or Louder Than Life. So you pick your taste of music, whichever you're into. And those two passes include the 4 days of the VIP experience, which it's a huge music festival, but it includes shaded lounges, front stage seats, private patios, merge, air-conditioned restrooms, concierge service. So you would get to have truly an experience that I don't even know if you can buy. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not a music festival person, but I could get behind this. Sweating and in the hot sun and waiting in line for water and hot bath or porta potties. I
That's
can't
nice.
do that, but I could get behind some air-conditioned restrooms and lounges and shade. That sounds like a great way to experience the
And
music
it is, it's
festivals.
front row seats for
Yeah.
whatever show you want to see.
So that's pretty incredible experience that you could get access to for next year's festivals. Our next offering, of course, we're at Churchill. It only felt right to have a Derby experience for our guests to purchase. So we're offering a Kentucky Derby experience for two. This includes a 3-night stay at a nearby hotel. Um, Obviously, you get breakfast included each day with your hotel stay. You're going to get first floor grandstand tickets to both the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby. So just having grandstand tickets that are covered, it's a huge deal for Derby and Oaks. Those are really hard to come by. This package includes all of your food, all of your alcohol, all of your non-alcoholic drinks, to both race days. On top of that, you're going to get a $200 gift card to Hat Haven for a custom Derby hat. So, you got to have a custom Derby hat if you're going to the Derby. And then you're also going to receive a custom painting of Churchill Downs to display in your home or your office or whatever you would like to look at that. So, very all-inclusive Derby experience. I'm excited for the two people that are going to go home with that.
I have never been to the Kentucky Derby. Lifelong
Either.
Kentucky fan, never been. Neither of us have ever been. So,
I've been
um,
to Oaks and Infield, and that's not really saying much.
yeah.
So this will be a great
So
experience.
whoever buys this, invite us. Yeah. No. Next, we have a really faithful sponsor who has given to the gala maybe every year, but it's Gator Made Trailers. They're in Somerset, Kentucky. They are, a Kentucky-based company. And so this year they're giving a 6x12 Gator Made dump trailer with a dependable hauling for everything that you need. This could be used on the farm, in your business, in all kinds of ways. But yeah, Gator
Yeah,
Made.
we're
So
thankful for them. And they always come out and have a good time, and we just appreciate their loyalty to our auction for sure.
support Kentucky FFA and enter to win a 2025 John Deere Gator XUV 590M, complete with power steering, alloy wheels, a roof, doors, and a dump bed, donated by our friends at Wright Implement. Only 500 tickets will be sold at $100 each, and all proceeds directly benefit FFA members from across Kentucky. The winning ticket will be drawn live during our Blue and Gold Gala on September 6th at Churchill Downs. You do not have to be present to win, but we would love to have you. Get your ticket today at kyffa.org and help grow the next generation of agriculture leaders.
Our next live auction item is donated by Mr. Nick Carter and Commissioner Jonathan Schell, and this is a new offering to our auction that we've not seen in a while or maybe ever. And this is just a private dinner, prepared by Master Chef Brandy. So if you watch Master Chef, she was runner-up to season 7. She's a Kentucky native, and she's going to prepare a gourmet 4-course meal for 20 people. With Commissioner Schell. Not only is it dinner, but Commissioner Schell has said, I will do visits with you in your community. Wherever you want to go, I will go and call on folks or visit people that you want to visit. So it's really a full day with the commissioner, and then you get to finish your day with a private dinner at your location of choice prepared by a master chef. So pretty cool experience there.
He is so kind to do
Yeah.
that for us. And to volunteer his time. And that's something that you really can't buy. This is going to be an
Yeah.
experience that you can only get at our gala. So thanks to Commissioner Shell and Nick Carter to making that happen. Next, we have a golf stay and play experience donated by the Dormy Network Foundation. The Dormy Network has incredible luxury stay and play golf courses across the whole country. So,
Mhm.
this you get to choose which golf course you want to go to. There's one in Virginia, Indiana, Nebraska, Texas, New Jersey. So, a trip, but you get 2 rounds of 18 holes and an overnight stay on their golf course. What else am I missing that this includes?
This is for 4 people, and so it's a full stay and play. So you get it's 2 days, one night. Your lodging is included, and then those 18 rounds of golf. But if you are unfamiliar with the Dormy Network and you are a golf person, you should go to their website and look how beautiful the courses are. I mean, they really, I know Sheldon said luxury, they are luxury. So this would be just like a great overnight with 4 friends to just go enjoy some golf and great cuisine and really cool lodging.
Yeah, I love it. And next, we have a Panama City Beach condo in Florida donated by Dr. Donald Colliver. Dr. Donald Colliver is an incredible former Kentucky FFA member, a professor at UK in ag engineering, and he has given a week stay at his condo in Destin for many years.
Mhm.
It is really lovely. It is a 2 bedroom that has a queen bed in the primary bedroom and the guest bedroom, and then there's bunk beds as well. So it's beachfront in a beautiful place. The dates are kind of, you need to go in the spring, in April and May, or between August and September. So the dates you need to check those before you bid on this.
Mhm.
But we are just so grateful that he gives this to us every year and allows somebody to take their family vacation while benefiting Kentucky FFA.
Yeah, another super loyal donor to our live auction.
Yeah.
Guys, and that's Gala. I mean, I can't wait for you all to see it, even in pictures. We are going to have it live streamed this year. So if you're not able to join, please look at our YouTube page. You're going to be able to watch it from the comfort of your own home. But if you're a listener of this podcast, we ask the same 3 questions at the end. We're going to do a fun spin on that this episode where we are asking those questions, but gala related. And so, um, the first question we always ask is just like, what drives you to be a leader? We're going to take a gala spin on that, and I'm just going to share myself of, what keeps Sheldon and I driven to do this gala year after year. And it's telling the stories like when Terry Ashby and Nick Carter got reconnected to FFA and now they serve on our board. Or it's hearing the students that get up on stage and they share how that $250 fund the need transformed their life to get to go to camp free of cost. It's seeing just friends get to reconnect socially at the gala and say, oh, I want to now judge a contest for FFA, or I'm going to go back and I want to be um, on the alumni board for my local program. Just the change that happens, it's really a ripple effect for so many stories. And I think that's what drives both of us to keep doing all this event planning. I joke it's like planning a wedding every single year because it kind of is.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but that's what drives me in regards to our gala.
Yeah, and donors get to see it real time. I mean, Jacob Rudy, a past AFA officer last year, he was served as state treasurer. And
Mhm.
he got on stage and talked about how a jacket grant gave him the
Yeah.
ability to be involved in FFA. Well, he would have received that grant in 2020 or 2021. That was our COVID virtual year gala that people still showed out and supported us. And then in 2021, it was in Bowling Green. COVID was still raging. We had to have it in the parking lot of the venue. It was a
But it
night.
happened and it made a
It
difference.
happened, and the money that was raised that night went to Jacob Rudy and bought him an FFA jacket, and it went to hundreds of other students. So
Um,
he's on the stage getting to thank the donors to say, "You changed my life 4 years ago." How
yeah,
incredible! Yeah, it's
it's
so
great. We typically always ask people, Sheldon, what's the most meaningful way they've been involved in philanthropy? And I want you to share, what makes the gala so meaningful in this involvement in philanthropy, and how has that really transformed over the years? How would you answer that?
I have two stories that have just touched my heart, and actually one donor is in both of these stories. But JR and Julie Shinkle were board members. JR was a board member. They've recently moved, but they lost their son Craig in many years ago when he was a teenager. And every year they give a scholarship to Gallatin County FFA in his honor. But a few years ago, they started donating this really nice shotgun. They would buy out west at Weatherby. They took an annual trip out west every year and they donated it to our auction. And JR and Julie got to talk about their son, talk about why they were supporting FFA. And um, Mr. Daryl Billings has have bought that gun year after year, paid way over market value. But Daryl has also lost a child, and it was a special way for them to honor their son Craig, to honor Daryl's son Logan, and it just always makes me cry every year that happened. JR and Julie have now moved out west and are living a different dream now, but that has always been so special because why people support FFA, it's more than just there's so many reasons because they want to make the difference in the lives of young people. And that's an example. Last year I had maybe one of the most unforgettable moments of the gala ever, Maker's Mark. And I always have to tell the story. You heard Austin Hazelwood on our podcast. He works with Maker's Mark, a past Kentucky FFA state president who is a real leader in their company now. He connected back with FFA and said, "Hey, here's how we can support Kentucky FFA. We want to donate this barrel experience." And so it was, you didn't just get a barrel of bourbon, but you got to spend a whole day with the Maker's Mark people and have a lunch, and then you go through the sensory flavoring session, and you get to flavor a custom barrel of bourbon that then will age. They'll bottle it and they'll put it under your label. We knew we had a reserve on that, but the bidding way outbid there was a bidding war, and we got to about $24,000. Is that where we were around that mark? And it was bought by Peterson Farms and a group of people affiliated with them. It was so great that Elle, who works for Maker's Mark, came up to me and whispered in my ear as the live auction was going on. And she said, "Hey, if the second buyers will also pay that, we'll donate a second experience." And so Daryl Billings and the Buchanan estate bought the second barrel experience, and we raised $50,000 through that one experience. Um, Pretty incredible to see the power of philanthropy come together like that. Very meaningful.
I don't know if I've ever told you this, Sheldon, but I was sitting at our staff table, which is way in the back, and I'm watching this go down. I don't know if I've ever like told you like my point of view from this experience, but I see Elle walking to the stage because you're like right off the stage as the live auction's going on. And I was like, and someone beside me said, "What is going on?" And I said, "I don't know, but it's got to be good." And sure
Yeah.
enough, if Elle was walking up there, who um is like community relations and works with a lot of different nonprofits from Maker's Mark, she was just blown out of the water that it brought that amount and said, "Let's do it again."
Do
And
it again.
it was great.
And
Yeah.
the
So thank you
people
to
who
those
bought
buyers.
it, Pearson Farms, this is the second time they have actually bought that experience. They've given it to us before, and they grow all the grain for makers.
Yeah.
So their bottle gets to be flavored with, it is their product,
Yeah.
that's went through that. So, so special, an incredible, incredible moment. So those are two of the things that have been very meaningful to me over the years.
Yeah, the gala is just a great place for people to engage in philanthropy and like put their own fun spin on it. It's fun to watch from the sidelines. That's a
Yeah.
good way to put that.
We always end with a fun question, and it is, what is something you can't stop talking about? So this time it's, what is something gala related that you keep talking about, Ruth Ann?
Yeah, since I'm on like the event manager, I guess you could call it, side of this event, I know all the really fun pieces that our guests will get to experience without giving too much away. If you've been to Churchill Downs or you've just driven past, you see all kinds of huge, gigantic digital boards. We're using those. We get to use those for promotion, for our sponsor promotion. Um, and I'm just excited for guests to like walk into Churchill Downs, but it feel like an FFA event. I mean, from the parking lot, they're going to see huge giant boards saying, "Welcome to the Kentucky FFA Blue and Gold Gala." They're going to see all of our sponsors listed there. They're going to walk into the paddock, which is like the legendary entrance of Churchill Downs. They're going to see, again, they're just going to see so much signage. And you might be like, wow, signage, that's a lame thing that you cannot stop talking about. Um, but our guests that are going to be there, it's just going to be so special to be in that iconic venue and for it to feel so FFA related. And then on the infield, the big giant big board that you can see from like miles and miles away. Yeah, we get to use that. So I'm just pretty excited for the visibility, not only to our guests, but think about like that area around Churchill Downs. Everyone's going to think like, what's going on? What is the Blue and Gold Gala? I hope they're Googling us. So that's something I can't stop talking about.
And those companies who have bought a table, they're a branded sponsor for the night. What? That's a pretty great way to get some
Yeah, it is.
get to go see your logo on all of the pieces of Churchill Downs. So pretty
Yeah.
amazing.
Step out on the patio of Millionaires Row, get a picture with yourself and like the big giant big board. I'm just
Your
excited to
model.
see our guests like really um experiencing the venue and making it feel so FFA.
Yeah,
Really
people
cool.
probably, d- I know people underestimate how much work this is to put together and how much time we spend thinking of new ideas to keep this
Mhm.
fresh and exciting and new ways for people who support us to feel appreciated. So great
I
job.
have to share, and this is how great the staff are at Churchill Downs. I got a call yesterday, given we are days away from this event. Like I know as people are listening to this podcast, we're recording a few days before, but they call and they say, "Hey, we wanted to make sure the desserts that you have picked out aren't, it's this shade of blue. Is that okay for your all's Blue and Gold Gala? And the yellow, it's lemon poppy seed. Is it okay that there's poppy seeds?" So you all, the detail that go into making sure your experience is top over the line. It's a whole team of people, it's everyone. And so I can't stop talking about how fun our guests are going to
I have
have
to
with
tell
every little detail.
one other detail story. We did a tasting and chose our menu back in
Yeah.
February. Okay, so that we have been planning the gala for some time is what you need to know. But we took Terry Ashby with us,
Yeah.
who's the chair of that fund development committee. Terry worked for Purdue Chicken, for his whole career. He built the Beaver Dam plant. That was part of his job. And there was a lady who is one of the chefs at Churchill Downs. She came up to service, was talking about what was there, and they talked about how about 20 plus years ago, the Queen Elizabeth of England, came to Kentucky, this huge day in Kentucky, and she got to come to Churchill Downs. And she said, I got to cook for the Queen. She ate my food. And Terry went, I brought you that piece of chicken that she cooked. And
It was like a specialty cut of chicken. I'm blanking on the name of it. Terry, if you're listening, I'm so sorry. We're failing you with the cut of this chicken. But yes.
but yes, Terry from the Beaver Dam Purdue Foods plant got to bring the Queen's piece of chicken to this lady. And then 20 years later, she's cooking for FFA and he's on the FFA board. So
Yeah.
FFA makes your world small.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Sheldon, what can't you stop talking about?
yeah. Well, every year, probably my number one asked question of the gala by guest is, what are you wearing? That's a very female-centered question, but it's about, what kind of new dress do you get and that sort of thing. I have a closet full of formals. It's like I'm in a beauty pageant, but it's not. I just have to go to the gala every year. And so this year, we've also had this huge news of the Gatton Foundation making a major gift. We have had a busy summer, and I really have neglected thinking about what I'm wearing to the gala. So this week I was like, I've got to figure it out. And then on top of a dress, hats. Because we have told people it's derby inspired. Wear your derby wear. It's gonna, so we think a
Yeah.
lot of people will be wearing hats. If you're going, are you wearing a hat? Yes, I'm gonna be wearing
Yes.
something.
This
Um,
is the year. So like if it feels extra, say yes. This is the year.
this is the year. So if you are thinking about calling or texting me and going, what are you gonna wear? I'm gonna tell you, it's blue. I have an appointment for a hat on Friday. I don't know what it looks like yet, but I'll have a hat of some kind. And so excited to host people. But that is what I cannot stop talking about is what we're wearing.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be the best. Even if you can't join in person, please join us on the live stream. It'll be on our YouTube page. Um, if you get our newsletter, you can see our auction links for preview. If you don't get our newsletter, you can just go to kyffa.org and sign up for that.
So we'll just wrap up by saying we can't wait to see you. Join us on the live stream and be bidding. You can bid online from your phone. You can also buy a Gator raffle ticket. We draw for the Gator that night at the end of the evening. So an incredible night ahead, and we can't wait to have you all. And guys, thanks for listening to Growing Kentucky's Leaders. Projects like this are made possible by the gala, and we can't wait to celebrate the 9th Blue and Gold Gala on September 6th at Churchill Downs. Growing Kentucky's Leaders is a podcast brought to you by the Kentucky FFA Foundation. Our music is performed by Bourbon County FFA member Joe Fritch. Artwork is by Julie Fritch Creative. Your hosts are Sheldon McKinney and Ruth Ann Fink, and you can find us on all social platforms at Kentucky FFA.